All right, it's 2016, February 18th, WikiSpeed Stand-Up. So I'll go ahead and kick us off with what I was able to get done last week, what I plan on doing next week, and any blocks. So, okay, this isn't actually in the order I did it, but I don't guess it really matters. So I forwarded info at wikispeed.org to info at wikispeed.com. Apparently, I didn't. I didn't end up doing it the way that I thought I was going to at all. Um, info at wikispeed.org was actually already set up at GoDaddy, and so instead of integrating and turning it into a Gmail account, since there's no other accounts, email accounts even on that domain, I just sprung the GoDaddy account, forwarded all mail that goes to it into the info at wikispeed.com account, which is again hosted on Gmail. I also set up a test event in the Event Manager plugin on the website to see how it displays, and a couple other things how it worked. Actually, I can demo that. Let's see. Sorry. Okay, a couple of things that it did in this. I'm already on the event page, but it on the sidebar here, that'll be on every page that you go to. So there's a link basically to register as interested for the Innovation Racing Series, and then this is the event page that it created. And I wanted to point out here that this is Tommaso's rendering of his concept of sort of the open racing body on top of the WikiSpeed frame, and then a buddy of mine at work, Frank Arthur, actually with Photoshop and a couple pictures that I gave him, put on these WikiSpeed logos. So like I said, this is basically, I copied what was available in the blog. I set the location. I set the dates because it's to be determined. So I set the dates from it's expected to be in Q3, the third quarter of this year. So I just set that as the dates of the event so far. And basically, right at the top, it says, if it's date's not determined, register at the bottom of this, if you're interested, at the bottom of the page. And you go down, and again, it says, just register if you're interested, no obligation, and the date's not been set yet. Details and pricing will be available later. I have not yet tested this, I guess, entry to see if it actually works okay. And that's where I'm at with that. So let me see, let me make sure. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me get back to that looks pretty neat. Okay, in the shop, actually this week it ended up being the Monday build party because Sunday was Valentine's Day, and I made a day of it. So I ended up drilling one angle plate, and I drilled one end of the, each of two chassis tubes, and then connected the two beams of the chassis together. And actually, I have a crazy demo for that because it's right here. So there it is, and I will say, if what I learned from doing this, for someone else that is doing this, is I went with 1.5 inch bolts, I believe, which are too long. I did that because the washers I had to test were thicker than the ones I ended up with that I bought in bulk, and you need at least 2 threads visible in order to get a real connection. And I was ending up with, when I stacked up everything to try to get the measurement with the other washers, had about a 1.5, 1 3/4 thread sticking out. So I went with the next bigger size to be safe. I also, if that was difficult to see, I have to do this again, but I can. Oh, am I screen sharing right now? Yeah, okay. So there's a picture of it and my awesome dog, and a little bit better of a close-up. This is from the front. So this actual piece is the front right fender area, I guess you would say. And then this short piece is actually just a placeholder, and that'll be a 10-foot beam that sticks out from there. And then, yeah, and another picture from the opposite angle of it. And luckily in doing this, I ended up with one of the pieces that were exactly 4 inches. So I mean, it is a perfect match and meets up, better than I expected actually. So I was happy with that. So that was it for last week, and for next week I want to drill enough of the angle brackets to at least finish assembling the front cross beams. So attach the 2 other pieces to that, and then work on assembling the cross beams. And if I have time, hopefully I'll be able to drill enough angle plates to attach to all of the 12-inch pieces, which assembly-wise, I think I figured out that's going to be the best order to do it, is attach all of the plates to the short pieces and then use those as sort of structural supports as you build the rest of it out. But I'm not going to commit to that for next sprint because as of right now, I'm way too slow at drilling these angle brackets, and that's actually, I'm going to try to find ways to speed up as I'm going. I'm also going to experiment with the Event Manager plugin some more. There's some things I still am not exactly sure about how it works, and I'm not sure what all the options are. It's pretty extensive, so I'd like to play around with that. And I want to start laying out how on the website, or actually whether it should have its own or be integrated, how the Innovation Racing Series is going to be integrated into the website. So basically this is mostly just UI stuff and kind of site hierarchy. What should go where, how it should be displayed, how people should be guided to it. So I'm going to start kind of sketching that out. As far as blocks, I don't really have anything on the WikiSpeed side. Of course, I'm taking classes again, so it's taking up a little more time than I would like, and that always cuts into WikiSpeed. Even though technically school is more important than my volunteer work or my hobby fun times, but it still is definitely a block. And that wraps it up for me. So who would like to go next with their stand-up?
This is Lauren. Mine is short. I didn't really do anything this week. So my next week is what it was last week, which is just to finish up the 501c and get it out for Joe's signature. And block was took a little longer to recover from some dental work than I thought. But right now I don't seem to have a lot of blocks. So that's mine.
Great. I actually did, I think, a fair bit this past week. I did get some angle plates drilled, and I got some of the frame of the WikiSpeed car put together. And I followed Chris's advice and started with the shorter vertical tubes, even though I didn't realize that I was doing that, but it's just kind of the way it worked out. Chris is using a drill press. I'm using a hand drill because I don't seem to be able to make my drill press work the way I want it to. And I don't actually think it drills very vertical to begin with. So the hand drill with a pilot and a step drill seems to work a little bit better for me. I was using 1 1/4 fine thread with the nylon lock nut and flat washers. That seems to be working okay. I just tonight got some more angle cut, so I think I have enough pieces cut to assemble everything that I need to do. I was looking at putting some more angle in where they would interfere with some of the standard modules. Some of the standard modules on the WikiSpeed car, but I think that's probably a bad idea. I won't put those in until later. we've been going back and forth with some ideas on Trello, trying to get things knocked off and bouncing ideas back and forth, which I think is quite positive. And I did get a video posted of unpacking the suspension modules and bringing them into the garage, doing a little bit of moving stuff around. Still got a couple more a couple more sessions. I don't know if I'm going to go through the effort of posting the video. They're really kind of boring even to me. For next week, I should be drilling more of these angle brackets and hopefully getting the car frame together with the suspension. I did check the wheels on the 5-bolt wheels on my Hyundai. Actually fit the rotors on the suspension, so I don't have to go out and buy new rims and tires immediately. I can just use the summer tires off my SUV, which is a little weird, but works out okay. I just have to go get some lug nuts this week. And I think that's about it for last week and what's coming up this week. I don't believe I have any blocks.
Awesome. Is there anyone on the call that has a stand-up that has not yet given it? All right, so that brings us into retrospective, where we give a score, of course, for our ability to contribute to the team, and a score, and these are both from 1 to 10, from for how we feel about the goals of the team in general, and then we usually offer a process improvement at that time. So I would say definitely a 10 for me. I think I had an amazingly productive week, and I think I was able to knock out a block that hopefully this is the beginning of being able to actually start increasing velocity again, because I was not able to do that for at least the last few weeks, and it seems like even longer than that, especially when I look at the backlog. And definitely a 10 for the team. And with everything else that's going on, I'm not even taking that into account. I'm going to say a 10 for the team just because of what Michael Lolchek is doing right now. That car is coming together amazingly quickly, and yeah, it seems like you're also experiencing some really awesome increased velocity. As far as a process improvement, I think there's many we could try, but first I want to say I think we need to touch base. I think there's a new intern who was interested in doing like the newsletter digest idea, and I don't think anyone's gotten in touch with him to get him into Slack to have access to that digest channel. But I would say as a process improvement that the team can do is in Slack. I was looking in I think the easiest way to use that digest channel is that you can click on any post in any other channel. You right click on it, or on your phone there's another way to do it, but you copy the link and then you just paste that link into the digest channel, so it links to the other card. So you're not having to recreate the content, you're not having to move it or anything like that. You're just copying the link, and then just the link goes into the digest to the cards. So I would think that's maybe a process improvement that could actually be implemented and tried out and experimented and evaluated. So who would like to go next?
I can go next, so I'll give myself like a 0 or a 1. Well, 1 because I made the meeting, and for the team a 10. Interesting stuff going on. I got some questions about so that leads me to a process. It's not really a process improvement, but I'm thinking I am actually located, I believe, where correct me if I'm wrong, the race will take place. Is it in Seattle area? The Innovation Series. So one thing I could do is maybe ask around people who might be interested and kind of do an expedition and see if anyone can come with me. they could get familiar with the WikiSpeed a bit, and at least if I can, or if any of them are interested, maybe we could volunteer and help. And again, I don't know if you need volunteers for that event, but that's my suggestion.
Okay, for myself, I'm gonna break with tradition and give myself a 10 because things are happening. They're not nearly as fast as you want them to be, but working them with the mechanical stuff and doing drilling and stuff is never fast enough for me. I just want to get it over with so I can get on to the funner stuff. 10 for the team. Things are happening all over the place. And I like the process of improvement of making it easier to contribute to the digest because we've had some good progress and we're not forwarding to the digest. So I think I'm actually gonna go back in Slack and see if I can identify some stuff that really should have been put in the digest. So I think that's about it.
Okay, so I think on the process improvement, because I think I heard 2 votes on this. First off, if I can reword what Lauren was saying, basically, real quickly and see if I kind of matched up with what you were saying, was basically drum up enthusiasm for the Innovation Racing Series. Is that a
Actually, I'm going to go along with. I'm going to withdraw my suggestion and make it unanimous.
okay?
But I do. Yeah, I wanted to put that out there. It's because I'm not. I'm like 3. Well, with the berries, I'm 6 or 8 hours from it, but it's close.
Okay. Well, first off, if like I said, if I gelled with your idea there, then like I said, I'm drumming up enthusiasm for the Innovation Racing Series. I would say that should totally be a goal, not as a process improvement, but just all the time until we get it done.
Yeah.
So definitely awesome. Yeah, so again, I'll just quickly reword the idea for the process improvement, that in Slack you can copy a link from any post and then paste it into the digest channel. And I would like to add that you don't just have, because it's something that Michael brought up, you don't just have to do this with posts that you've created. If you see something that you think should be in the digest that someone else created and it's not there, go ahead and do it. So does that sound good for everybody? Is there any modifications, or is everybody all good on that one?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, awesome. So that completes all of our necessary events, I guess. Anyway, so that moves us on to general discussion. Does anybody have anything right off the bat that they'd like to discuss?
I have a technical question for Michael.
Cool.
Sure.
It's what's a step drill?
A step drill is if you take your drill set and you start at an 1/8 and then you go up to 3/16 and then a 1/4. If you envision them all stacked up and each one of them is about 1/2 inch long, and they just kind of stack up in a pyramid. So when you're drilling through fairly light metal or aluminum, you start the drill and it drills the 1/8 inch hole, and then it starts drilling the 3/16 and just keeps going.
Cool.
It looks.
And the advantage there is that it's less likely to tear or mess up the metal, is it?
Actually, it's not as hard on the bit, it seems, and you're not making a big flurry of metal bits. You're making a series of little shards and fly around.
Right.
It's also easier on the triceps when you're using a hand drill, because you're shaving away pieces of metal at a time instead of the whole thing. I noticed when I was doing the hand drill with a regular drill bit, you got to use quite a bit of force and no way to get it like where you marked the hole.
Sure.
I mean, I was watching it thinking it's going in exactly where I punched this, center punched this, and no, it was off by, way more than I'm. In fact, in the next iteration, I'm actually going to try to use the drill press to drill the chassis tubes too. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay. Lauren, I have a question about how to get some information to you. because
Shoot.
I have a couple of modifications to the spreadsheet. I don't actually know what the amounts are or what the exact dates are, but I know that I bought parts and that there was a money order and Joe got it. And I know that he sent me some money for the Winnipeg car. And I just mark up the spreadsheet and email it to you? Because looks like Dropbox is still read only.
Yeah, basically, or even if you just want to put the location, you know, which month or year or whatever, where it goes in the spreadsheet, I'll insert it and send it back to you.
Okay. And I'm
also
hoping that
I'll update. I'll inform Joe that there's an update, and how should I update the books.
Okay, and I'm sure that that's going to twig Joe to go looking in his personal account for those kinds of transactions. I don't know how much work that is for him, but I think it's something he probably should go ahead and put some time into.
Yeah, I would request to go stop recording right now.
Okay, we can talk about other stuff and then come back to it if you like.
Yeah.
So is Chris stopping recording, or are we going to talk about other stuff?
Let me. I have a few notes here. I was trying to see which side I should go on here. Okay. Let me leave the recording running for just a second. So first off, I wanted to say that, Michael, I like the new video demo format that you've been doing. That's covering the highlights and where you're at. I mean, it seems more exciting that way. So I do like that. Also, Lauren, I created a user story or a card in Trello about the micro factories, and Michael was able to pull up some information from Dropbox of the person that was working on the shipping container version that has not everything you need to know, but a very substantial amount of notes on that particular setup that they were working on. So that's interesting. If you do end up getting access to Trello, or at least to Slack and the Trello channel, there's some information that you may be interested in there.
Okay, so I'm not caught up with Trello and everything, so I'll look around.
In Slack, there's a link that it'll take you to it. Like in the there's a Trello distributed team channel that has links in it to these cards that that when we update them. And it should be able to take you right to the card. But either way, there's a file attachment in there somewhere that you have access to.
No, it sounds really interesting.
Cool.
Exciting.
Yeah, and the Dropbox still being read only was because we thought we had OwnCloud ready. And I actually have someone interested in trying to figure that out. And I just added that to my backlog for next week, that I need to contact him and do a Google Hangout, do a quick brain dump to get that taken care of. But also in the meantime, maybe we should at least figure out a way to make it not read only for what I would call the core team or people that need to use it all the time. So either way, and that wraps it up for what I at least had written down for general discussion.
Great. Yeah, I can't think of really anything else to talk about. It looks like we're getting a couple of DC controllers. Joe is interested in getting a couple of DC controllers. Oh, are you guys interested in a link? It sounds like the U.S. Congress has just passed some sort of an exemption or a rule. You can do custom cars and not have to do the crash testing and stuff, as long as you stay under 350 vehicles a year.
Awesome. I would love to see that. That may be best.
I am too.
And if you have time, can you share that in Slack and on the Google groups?
Sure.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It's actually pointing to an EBTV article, but I'll see if I'll search out the source.
Yeah. My favorite part of WikiSpeed is it's street legal, because so many of these projects are concepts.
Right. Yeah, we're a legal automotive manufacturer. That's one of the first things Joe took care of, which is awesome.
And so anything that makes that more rapid.
We
more
also
agile.
have everything required to create actual VIN numbers that can be registered. We have that I don't remember what it's called now, but yeah, yeah.
Well,
But Michael's right. We don't produce enough cars, or we haven't actually sold any in a way that we have to deal with I don't remember what it's called, but like the where you have to report on injuries and deaths and NHTS. That sounds right, but National Highway something.
oh yeah, yeah.
So we actually are not at a point that we have to submit anything to them, but I still think that I think that there is still crash tests involved, unless you classify it as a hobby car, maybe. But then it maybe wouldn't be able to be registered under a manufacturer's VIN.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. But that's awesome. I'd love to see that. And
Yeah, I dropped out there.
oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, I didn't hear too much of that, but
Okay. Are we ready to go ahead and stop the recording?
yeah, that's fine with me.
Yep.
Give me 1 second.